I myself am here. Ms. Heinrich,
Here.
you have a quorum.
Thank you. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, items from the President. Approval of agenda. Mr. Rich?
I actually move to amend the December 5th, 2023 regular meeting agenda by removing number 10, consent agenda, approval of minutes, and everything after that.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Rich, supported by Ms. Smith, to amend the agenda by removing the consent agenda, item number 10. All those in favor?
Aye.
Point of order, if there's any discussion on it,
Okay, is there any discussion?
I will just,
Oh, yeah, point of information.
yeah, so just since the minutes were not made available, we don't want to be able to approve those minutes if we haven't actually had the chance to read them and make sure that everything is reflected accurately.
Thank you. I was actually going to say something, but I just got caught up in motion. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Rich. Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, so the motion is carried. All right, now we need an approval of the agenda. Mr. Rich?
I move that the Board of Education approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
Supported by Ms. Weems. Motion by Mr. Rich, supported by Ms. Weems, to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is carried. Announcements. We thank you for your interest in attending or viewing our Board of Education meetings. The Open Meetings Act requires that all meetings of the Board of Education be held in public. As a result, our board meetings are the only place and time that we as a board can legally work together on district matters. While these board meetings are held in public for the purpose of full transparency, they are not public meetings. While you are welcome to attend our board meetings in person or watch from elsewhere, we must take the time needed to address, discuss, and hear presentations on all matters of importance to our work for the district. We, the members of the Farmington Board of Education, together with our superintendent, agree to abide by the following standards of behavior when interacting with one another, both during our board meetings and elsewhere, even when we disagree with one another's points of view. Our agreements are to listen actively, no sidebars, to respect people and ideas, presume positive intent, use electronic devices respectfully and stay engaged, listen to learn, not to defend, be brave, be vulnerable. We thank our community members for abiding by these standards of behavior as well. Also, I would like to welcome our Farmington Public School new staff and families and guests that are here. We also have a scholarship recipient and family here that I want to welcome, and all other members of the public. After the recognitions, the district updates and the recognitions, we will have a short recess so that we can take time to congratulate people in person, and then we will reconvene the meeting. Items from the secretary. Mr. Rich.
Thank you. The board has received communications regarding NPRM roundtable discussions with the OHS director. We have also received correspondence on grade level reading information. The board acknowledges communications and responds when appropriate. A list of correspondence can be found in the board packet accessible on the Farmington Public Schools website.
Thank you. Legislative update. Mr. Rich again.
Sure. So at this point in time, the state legislature has recessed until the new year. There's not a ton that's currently up outside of the call by the governor for special elections for the 13th and 25th state house districts. just due to those two representatives winning mayoral elections. Those seats must be filled by special election. And so those filing deadlines was this past Monday. The primary will be January 30th with a general on April 16th, which means that the State House will return to 110 members at the end of April.
Okay, thank you. Now we're on to district updates. Dr. Delgado?
Thank you, Mrs. Heinrich, and good evening, everyone. So a few things from me. So keeping in theme with legislative updates, so I had the opportunity yesterday to attend what is usually our annual day-long or two-day-long retreat with the Oakland County Superintendents Association. Historically, we go up to Lansing and we actually meet with legislators and talk about issues of importance with respect to education and education policy, but because the legislators are already on recess, we ended up just doing this locally. However, I'm pleased to say that we had several representatives from our legislative groups, both Republican and Democrat, who came to speak with the group of superintendents, and so we really appreciate their commitment. We started with a presentation of countywide as well as statewide data on the most recent standardized scores. Also had a really broad conversation about how we collectively define success and not really simply relying on standardized test scores, understanding that it is still necessary for us to prepare our students for those tests. But it was a really good give and take of conversation with our legislators and our superintendents around the county. We then talked a little bit more about the School Finance Research Collaborative, which we've talked about several times at this board and other boards, about really this nonpartisan group that a few years ago really analyzed school funding around our state. And when you look at other states that are higher than Michigan with not only standardized test scores, but some other metrics, a lot of it really comes down to fully funding education as a priority and not viewing it in the annual budget cycle as an expenditure. And so we had, again, a really robust conversation about the School Finance Research Collaborative. I would encourage any of the public to look that up, to research that, to read that, and understand the best practices around our country. We also talked about the food program, and universally very proud of the ability to feed our children, both breakfast and lunch, and we're hoping to see that translate into not only dividends in standardized test scores, but really in terms of their attainment and access to the curriculum. We know that with any of us, if our bellies are empty, we're not at optimal time to perform, and some of our new teachers may even have an opinion about that as they've ventured into the classrooms with kids. We also talked about what is being referred to as the COVID cliff. So we know that COVID monies, the ESSER monies expire in 2024. Specific concern around the county on mental health supports that we've been able to establish. Without bragging, I was able to share that here in Farmington, we've had very proactive meetings going back over a year and a half, where we've really sat with our business team and our administrators and Mr. Chris O'Brien and Margaret Hendrickson, who oversee our grants, and we're optimistic that we can maintain not only the academic, but the mental health supports post-COVID cliff as they expire in 2024. And so districts all around the county are having to make those difficult decisions of what stays, what has to be pulled back. Some you can gain through attrition, but we feel really confident about our plan and keeping holistic support here in Farmington Public Schools. Additionally, some of the legislators brought up some opportunities for legislation along the lines of increased safety and security support, as well as threat assessments. You may have seen in the news some desire to have mandatory threat assessments. Once again, here in Farmington, we've been doing that for years. We have a strict protocol with any threat, elementary, middle, high school, it doesn't matter. We have a consistent protocol for threat assessments. We do not deem them to be uncredible. We partner with law enforcement. We isolate students. We search all belongings. And so we're very confident in our safety practices. But that was a legislative conversation as well. And vaping and the readily availability of vapes, not only the candy-flavored vapes, but the very dangerous marijuana-based vapes. And so that's a challenge all around schools in the country, and so we had some conversation. So again, we were very, as Oakland County superintendents, we're appreciative that we had our legislators who came and talked to us. We do a series of these legislative meetings and breakfasts, and then we also go up to Lansing to petition our own folks. Additionally, Next week, we're very excited to come back with our student roundtable. I know Mrs. Heinrich is our board rep on the student roundtable. Met with them today to do their agenda planning, and so they are really excited about their career fair. So we may be reaching out to you to try to fill in the blanks. They have several careers where they have some vacancies where they'd like adults to be able to talk to young people, and they want to do it early in their years, in their high school tenure. So this is for 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, as well as some 10th, 12th graders as well, to learn about different careers and maybe even set up some shadowing days so they can be involved with you. So just a great group of young people, as Ms. Heinrich knows, and so we're looking forward to meeting with them again next week. And I'll need my readers for this one, but so next one, a huge congratulations to the Farmington United Gymnastics team, who competed in their first invitational of the season in Holt very recently, and of all the teams there, they took first place. So way to go to our Farmington Unified Gymnastics. And of course, 'tis the season with all of our winter holidays and plays. I was able to go last Friday to see the Lion King Jr. at Warner Middle School, and it was just outstanding. And we have so many choir concerts, band concerts, and upcoming musicals and plays. So I would encourage you to have dinner and a show, very reasonably priced. So, and that is it for me.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Farmington.
Mrs. Heinrich?
Oh,
Sorry. Maybe either yourself or Dr. Delgado could answer this now or later, but I'm interested in understanding if there's a list of gaps, employment opportunities, or job shadowing opportunities that they're looking for, where we might find that.
Absolutely.
So you'll let us know.
Yep, and the student roundtable, the students themselves created careers they aspire to, not the ones that we, the adults, think they should go into, which is just the great organic nature of it. But next Wednesday, we'll solidify what they're missing, and we can get that out to the board as well as our broader community.
Thank you.
they're all digital, so they have like their spreadsheet on their little devices that they like send around with each other. I'm like, where's the paper? Hopefully they'll set the date for that also.
They are.
Okay, so that was something that they need to do. Okay, so any other questions before we move on? Okay, thank you, Dr. Delgado, for that update. And I'm really like what I'm hearing about the Oakland County Superintendent's meeting with the legislators and how we're all working together. Next, we have Farmington Hills Education Foundation update. And
There we do. And I see Mr. Dave Workman approaching the podium. Dave.
Hello and thank you. Is this one part of it? Is that good like that? Thank you so much for the opportunity to give a short, brief update on the Education Foundation. Most recently, we had our Toast of Education, which is our major funder of the grants that we pass out that we will begin very shortly in that process. But it was a great success if you had a chance to be there. I don't know what there is to say. It was great fun, and we did a wonderful job of raising money. Thank you to everyone that was there and those that couldn't make it that donated. We were up around $30,000 after we pay our bills, and that's going to be a great support for the grants that our new teachers are going to write, because we're going to support you through that process. I'm going to tell you about that in just a moment. But anyway, it was, like I said, a great event. If you are not with that on your agenda, please do take a look at participating with that in the years ahead. It's the first Friday generally in November, or the very end of October. So keep your ears peeled, and we'll do it again next year. Hopefully have that sort of success again. This week is exciting because we kick off our grant openings, and the grants are for our teachers and our other staff, administrators, and families of the Farmington Public Schools to write for innovative projects that are happening in the schools and in our classrooms and around the community in some cases. And we encourage you to take a look at that. We promise that we have worked hard to make the grant writing not miserable, not painful, and you may not even need to ask for help on it, but there's a lot of that support around. If that's something that you wanted to try, but it just has a dollar amount attached that isn't part of your budget. So please take a look. You'll be getting information from that this week in your email. So look for the grants. We have $500 grants, and we have combined grants that are up to $2,500. And we've done some special things for certain circumstance that require something special. So take a look for that. That opens, like I said, this week, and that will close the January 12th. And shortly after that, we'll do some processing and let the recipients know. And then that early part of February, we'll announce it to the greater public on who was a grant recipient. And when you see the things that our teachers are doing with the grant money, it's cool. It's very cool stuff, and I dare you not to want to play with some of the projects that the teachers and staff come up with. So please look out for that. Right behind that is going to be getting ready for scholarships and the support that we offer around that with our counselors and our other community members. There's quite a number of scholarships. Please, if you're a family who has someone graduating, please look at that list. There are dollars waiting to be spent to train, or whether it's college or training, depending on what scholarship you're looking at. Please look at the list. There's many, and this community is so wonderfully generous with their interest in sustaining an educated community. So we thank everyone who donates to that, and some of the FEA are donating a portion of their paycheck each week or each couple weeks. We call that a buck a pay, and some of us call it $5 a pay, or whatever that might be. So if that's not something you're doing, that's a consideration also. Just a little plug for some funding there. That's what I have. Are there any questions for me? Ms. Smith?
When is the deadline for people that want to donate for your scholarships? And I think you may do fundraising with your golf team too, if I'm not mistaken, with your staff, that people play golf to put towards scholarships as well.
The FEA golf outing has been revived. We did have some weather delays, and rescheduling, and then rescheduling, and I don't have all that information at the moment in that regard. But as far as a deadline for scholarships, we're open 365, 24/7 on that account. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to a whole variety of different opportunities, but the foundation, Farmington Hills Education Foundation, could certainly guide that.
Thank you.
More than me kind of guessing right now.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Right on.
Are there any other questions? Thank you very
Thanks
much
for the
for the
opportunity.
work that you're doing and the support for our teachers, our staff, and our students.
We so much appreciate the giving community that we get to be a part of, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, we have recognitions. Dr. Delgado, you want to take that?
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Heinrich. And so we have 3 groups of individuals we're going to recognize, and as Vice President Heinrich said, we will take a short recess after, so we'd ask you to stick around so we can come and congratulate you in person. Maybe take a couple of pictures here. So is there a Mitchell Gagnon in the house? If you can come on up to the podium where you're least comfortable. We will say wonderful and well-deserved things about you, Mitchell. So Mitchell Gagnon was selected to receive 4-year Army ROTC National Scholarship for the 2024-25 school year. He will receive a full ride to any of his top 3 schools. The schools Mitchell is choosing between are Purdue University, Bowling Green State University, and Western Michigan University. The competition for Army ROTC scholarships are extremely difficult as it involves some of the finest students in our country. Academic success, including grades and student achievements, are a big factor in these scholarships rather than financial need. Winning an ROTC scholarship is very commendable, and we thank you in advance for your service. Congratulations, Mitchell.
Thank you.
Mitchell, I'm sure our board has maybe some questions or comments for you if you want to come on back. And if mom and dad are in the audience, you can come on up too.
Ms. Smith.
Okay, or you can stay there.
All right. Any questions?
Well, I just have a comment. When I was in school, you know, it was weird to see the ROTC kids because they had uniforms and everything. But at the end of the day, those kids went on to be in our military and served our military well. I want to congratulate you, for the scholarships and the work that you have done to get this award. And I wish you well and Godspeed as you go further with your studies. And I hope you pick one of the best schools there is. All of them sound good. But if you do decide to continue with your military base, I wish you all the best, and thank you for being a part of fighting for our country. Thank you.
All right. Other questions or comments? Well, thank you so much, really, for choosing to serve in the military and choosing a commendable career as far as the nursing also. So nursing is a very commendable career. So thank you so much, and congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next recognition for this evening, if we can have both of our school nurses come on up. We have Mary Larson and Leslie Worth. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services awards Farmington High School and North Farmington High School HeartSafe designation. The Michigan HeartSafe program is designed to ensure that schools are prepared if a sudden cardiac emergency were to occur during or after school hours. This year, a record-breaking 256 schools are being recognized for their work during the 22-23 school year, with 123 schools receiving the award for the first time, which includes Farmington and North Farmington High Schools. To earn a My HeartSafe school designation, schools must have the following: a written medical emergency response plan and team that can respond to an emergency during school hours and after-school activities and sports. Current CPR AED certification of at least 10% of staff and 50% of coaches, including 100% of head coaches and physical education staff. Accessible, properly maintained, and expected AEDs with signs identifying locations. We've even enhanced that to look at some portable AEDs that we're looking to dispatch for our fields and our sports. Annual cardiac emergency response drills, as well as pre-participation sports screening of all student athletes using the current physical and history form endorsed by the Michigan High School Athletic Association. FHS and NFHS were recognized in a ceremony at the Michigan High School Athletic Association in East Lansing on Tuesday, November 14th, 2023, and we wanted to bring you to our board meeting to similarly congratulate you. We want to thank you on behalf of all of your work to keep all of our students and staff safe. And we know that this has been a long effort that you've really wanted to accomplish in this district, and you did it. So congratulations to Mary and Leslie. I know you're going to introduce some other folks here, and you're going to unveil something that we can all be proud of. So take it away, Mary and Leslie. Let's give them a round of applause. have to speak in the microphone so it can be picked up on television.
We do have Jennifer Shea from Corewell Health, who came with tonight as well. If you wanted to say a couple of things. Sure. She's been instrumental in helping us achieve this because she knows all the stuff and walking through with the schools, and we've been able to assess our AEDs. And I just found out tonight that we actually are getting new AEDs in our school. So, yeah.
Thank you for having us here tonight. I'm really proud that both the Farmington and North Farmington schools went through this process to become HeartSafe designated. We know in Michigan that we have 30 cardiac arrests in schools a year. And the state of Michigan does not require schools be prepared for that, even in having any AEDs in schools. We're required to have 5 fire drills, though. So we want to really uphold these schools that take these extra steps to be prepared, because it's such a life and death situation anytime there's a cardiac arrest, and if you're not prepared, it's very unlikely that person's going to survive. We always want to be able to look back and say we did everything we could. And both these schools, and the nurses helping the schools, have gone through that process to be able to say we have a team ready, we've prepared ourselves, we have the equipment we need, and we will be ready when the time comes. And so it's really great. I sit on the board that helps designate the schools as well, and I also help the schools get ready for that process. And so I'm always happy when they reach out and say, can you come and help us? And this is something that we have a high priority for, and you could really see the work they've done to make that happen this year. So congratulations. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can help hold them.
Yep, and we got these, so they were given to us, and we are going to have them put up in the schools so that we can show everybody how hard this staff works to get these.
Are there any comments or questions? Mr. Rich?
This is such important work, not only for in our high schools, but across our district. And so I encourage everyone, no matter if you think you might need it or not, to get your CPR certification, figure out how to use these devices in the event that you might be the only person able to respond in these situations. I know Ms. Shea was the one who did my CPR certification, and I do encourage everyone, again, whether you think you might need it or not, to get your certification so you know what to do in the event that the worst happens.
We are in the process of working with the middle schools as well. So it's not, each year we'll be working with more and more schools in the district. So
we used our high schools as the guinea pigs last year. So, and the administrators were great. Joe's here with us tonight. Chris couldn't make it, but they were instrumental in helping us get through this. And they said, we're working our way down now. We're doing our middle schools and STEAM this year, and then next year we'll work with the elementary schools.
Ms. Smith?
Thank you both, well, all of you, for all that you're doing. Mary and I worked for years through the special ed, and people don't realize how important your work is. Oh, they're just nurses. Oh, it's more than just being nurses. I agree with Mr. Rich. You do need that certification. I think it should be mandatory for everybody to take it. When I was working at Farmington High one time, I had a student that choked. And I had my training. Luckily, that child didn't take my finger off, but I got that apple out of her throat. And then I knew how to do the CPR. So I do agree with you, Mr. Rich. And I do thank you all for what you do. And keep doing what you're doing in helping save our kids. Thank you.
Ms. Fox?
Mary, you don't know me and I don't know you. But I want you to know that when I came in as school board member during the COVID, and I was so appreciative of the guidance that you provided us during the COVID. Thank you very much.
It wasn't easy. We all made it through. It was a group effort to make it through that.
Well, we just heard your name a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and yes, thank you. And you said that you're going to be working with the middle schools now, so will they be able to be certified also?
Yeah, you can apply once a year. So the middle schools will apply at the end of this school year.
Okay.
And it's good for 3 years. So each year that you're certified, you continue to do that AED drill every year and make sure that your staff is still certified. So sometime during that 3 years, that staff gets recertified because it's only a 2-year certification for CPR. But yes, and then the following year, we'll work in the elementary schools.
All right, and yeah, and as a matter of fact, I think at the last board meeting, we just approved replacements for all the AEDs so that all the devices are updated and they are not expired. So, yes, so it's very much appreciated. Thank you.
And we are working with getting people in the district certified in CPR and first aid through American Red Cross. Myself as an instructor, and I have a couple other employees, staff that are also instructors, and Leslie helps us out too. She's working on getting her instructor certification, so we're working on that with getting more and more people. Oh, yes, and our Stop the Bleed program that we did last year too, that we trained all staff last year in every building in Stop the Bleed, so.
And actually, I think off to Northhorn, we had a large number of our med skills students were qualified to go train, and they trained the vast majority of our staff. Sorry. Our North's med skills students were trained and certified to go help teach Stop the Bleed, and they went out and taught the majority of the staff across the district, which was really awesome to see young adults doing an authentic task and being able to give back. And none of that stuff would happen without these two nurses who are amazing. And I echo, Mabel, your comments about Mary. She kept many of us sane during a couple of years while we were doing this. So they're amazing. We're lucky to have them.
Yeah, and thank you for emphasizing the importance of refreshers also. So even though you've certified once, and as Mr. Rich pointed out, you know, even if you do have your certification, to take a refresher course. So that's really important. So thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and our final recognition this evening is our new FEA staff. And so we have many of our instructional leaders that are coming to the microphone. You can see on your screens, we have a list of all of our new FEA staff for 23-24. I see Mr. Christianke, our wonderful FEA president, in the audience as well, but I'll turn it over to start with Mrs. Hendrickson.
Good evening, Board of Education. I'm very excited each year in August, about the week before all staff come back, we have an opportunity to welcome wonderful cohorts of teachers coming in and ancillary staff, special education coming into our system. We have new staff that are brand new to their career, and we have staff that come in that have many years of experience already in the profession. And one of the things that we're proud of as Farmington Public Schools is our mentoring programs, our new staff induction program. And the three women behind me who are teachers in our system are our new staff induction facilitators. And so they really are the heart behind all the work we do to onboard staff in those summer months just before staff arrive, as well as meeting with staff once a month all school year after school to continue their learning as they come to understand Farmington and as they come to grapple with the successes and the opportunities for growth within their roles that they have. So I want to introduce Chelsea Chambers, who is one of our amazing elementary teachers at Hill Elementary. We have Nanette Suarez. Did I say it wrong?
Hillside.
Oh, what did I say?
Hill.
Oh, Hillside. Sorry, Hillside. And then we have Nanette Suarez, who is on my team, K-12 Data Literacy Assessment Coordinator. And then we have Katie Gustafson, who's an amazing social studies teacher and history teacher at Farmington High School. So they have started this work many years ago when they were Galileo Leaders, which is a leadership program that many of our staff connect with. And this was their brainchild. Is there anything you would like to add?
Who's got it better than us?
Nobody.
They try to get me to participate in that, but I had to leave it to them. So we do have some of our new staff here today with us, so round of applause for them, as well as our new staff who are joining us virtually on YouTube tonight. This is always an event every year for our new staff to come to understand the role of the Board of Education, understand what that work looks like, and watching you today is watching you in action. So thank you so much for recognizing our new staff, and thank you, new staff, for being here virtually or in person. Oh, any questions?
All right. Mr. Rich?
Not a question, but just a warm welcome to all of our new staff who have joined the best and brightest here at Farmington. We are so lucky to have so many incredible teachers and staff, not just new, but who have stayed and who have been here for years and years and have taken on that mentorship role and showing not only what it means to come to school, do the job and leave, but be part of this full Farmington community. And it's just, we see it in your work. We see it, the love you have for the students that you serve every day. And so we are just so thankful to have you here and grateful to see, just very hopeful for the years to come. So thank you so much.
Wait, don't go away yet. No, as a career educator, I just really am so excited about the work that you're doing, just the opportunities. When I look back to my, first experience as a teacher and what our new teachers are experiencing now, it's just wonderful improvement. And I'm just excited, and I'm hoping that, we look at Farmington as a destination district, and it's, to see the number of names of, brand new teachers and experienced teachers coming in, and just, a warm welcome to Farmington on behalf of the Board of Education. And we hope to see you, 30 years from now as your retirement recognition from the district, and hearing about your rich and full careers. And are you going to ask our new staff that are here just to stand up so that we can give you a round of applause? The job of a teacher is 24/7 too, even though, it sounds like you have better hours than that. So thank you for taking time out of your busy day to come and be with us in person. And for all the staff that's participating virtually, thank you for taking the time to do that also.
The only thing I'll say before we take the recess is thank you for your commitment to our profession and to our district. If ever there were a time where we need dedicated professionals to educate our youth and the future of this country, it's now. And with the talent that we have in this new group of teachers, whether you're brand new or if you're transferring to what will be your forever home here in Farmington Public Schools, we need you, and the kids need you, and the families need you. And so I thank you unconditionally for your dedication to our children, to our profession. So for those of you online and those of you in the audience, thank you, thank you, thank you. Congratulations.
So in order, if you want any photo ops with, your mentors or your Board of Education or any other people, we'll take a short recess, probably about 5 minutes, and then we will reconvene. There we go. I see the name. All right, so this meeting will be reconvened. As we move on to public comments, during the public comment portion of our meeting, members of the community are welcome to address.
Point of order?
What?
Just discussion items first, and then,
Oh, shoot, okay. All right, thank you. As you can tell, this is my first rodeo here. So, discussion items. A on the agenda is high school course proposals.
Good evening again, Board of Education and Dr. Delgado. One of the pieces that I love to do is when we have an opportunity to provide new opportunities for students. And so tonight you'll hear a couple proposals around some new courses that at the next board meeting, the board would vote on. And so we're going to be presenting some ELA courses as well as a math course this evening. And I do have with me, you all know Dr. Coffin, but I have one of our amazing teacher leaders, Christy Feitfield, who is our I'm having trouble tonight, aren't I? 6 through 12 secondary literacy and social studies coordinator tonight to support the work. We're going to start first with some proposals around English. Just to give some background to the Board of Education is that students must take 4 English credits for graduation. And currently, to meet those graduation requirements, students take a full year of what we call English 9, English 10, English 11, and English 12. A student might substitute English 11 or 12 with an honors class, advanced placement, international baccalaureate. So there are other advanced courses that also meet this graduation requirement, but the main course sequence is English 9 to English 12 currently as full year courses. What we're bringing to you tonight is considering for our 11th and 12th grade, instead of each year always requiring a full year of the English 11 and English 12, we'd like to create flexible options that are semester courses that students can choose from to meet that graduation requirement. And so you're going to see different courses that we are proposing that contextualizes reading, writing, speaking, and listening standards in different themes and topics as one semester courses. And these courses allow us to provide more authentic opportunities for application of learning. Okay, so this would over time phase out our 1 year long English 11 and English 12. So Christy Feitfield spent some amazing, joyful time with ELA teachers brainstorming what could be themes and topics on which we could base courses around. And so the proposal is to bring forward these following titles, and you'll see linked into your Google slide deck a link to the full descriptions of the courses, but we're bringing forth a semester film analysis, sports literature and composition, mystery fiction and true crime, graphic novels and the visual narrative, senior symposium, and junior forum. These all would be new one-semester courses that would count for a student's ELA graduation requirement. So they're not electives, they can actually count towards their graduation requirements and soon replace our 1 year 11th grade course and our 1 year 12th grade course to provide more options for students. Christy, in this work with the departments, did actually have conversations with the teachers, but also surveyed students to see what kind of themes and topics they would have of interest. And these fell within some of the highest scoring options that we could provide for students as we try to find courses that would be intriguing and of interest to our students. We also want to make you aware, while you don't vote on this, there are courses that we've previously offered in the district that haven't been offered in recent years. And so wanted you to be aware that we were bringing back some old titles and even revamping the titles to gain interest from students. One of those is Ideas That Shape the Modern World, which is our historical humanities offering. Diverse Global Voices, which will be a reboot of our Minority Voices course, as well as our African American literature. So the courses that the board would be asked to vote upon at the next board meeting are these new courses. We're just providing an update to the board that we are eager to bring back some of the courses that we've had success with in the past that we'd like to offer, again, as options for credit in the 11th and 12th grade year. We have been doing a look and a review of all of our course offerings that we've had historically, and did want to raise at this time that we are bringing back our African American history course that we've had historically will come back in this coming year as well. While it's not an ELA credit, while we were sharing some titles that were going to be brought back, we wanted to make the board aware of that title that would be coming as well. Anything you would like to add, Ms. Fifield?
Do you want me to share some student comments?
Yes, yes. You spent a lot of time talking to students, so.
Yes, hi, and thanks for having us here for this tonight. As Dr. Margaret Hendrickson, Mrs. Hendrickson, mentioned, I spend time with the ELA teachers every year at each grade level. We have grade level meetings, and teachers were very excited to this idea of creating courses that would gain student interest. The English curriculum, it sort of spirals every year, and it's the same standards with the little bump up. So it gives us the flexibility to teach the curriculum, the standards, using a wide range of materials. But in these traditional courses, they often didn't have the time, and there was kind of just a brush across of several of these areas. So they're really excited to be focused in on some of these. And we put a survey out, and about 400 students responded to the survey. And the last question of the survey was an open response for them to share whatever their opinions were on this. And our students never fail to share interesting opinions. So a couple of them I just wanted to highlight. One of the kids, who I believe is a senior, said, "Please do it next semester while the class of 2024 is still here. Don't make us take an English class next semester. Test it out on us and see how it would go." Another one, somebody was giving some good suggestions for authors and inspirations for source material, and gave the name of two poets that I had never heard of, and I Googled, and one was like the poet of Los Angeles, like an honorary poet in Los Angeles who's got an Instagram, and these sources that as an older person I don't know about necessarily, but the kids shared some great ideas. My favorite one, I think, was this student that said, remember, it was a whole listing, and this student said, "Intrigued by a lot of these, not gonna lie, hip-hop literature sounds the most interesting. If I wasn't a senior, LOL. Hopefully the people in the future will use some of these classes." So I thought that was, the voice of these seniors. And then somebody else just said, "I like too many things, LOL, but these all seem like a lot of fun." So the idea that we can bring some fun back into learning for our high school students is really exciting. So I'm just really excited that they had voice in these ideas, and that the teachers are excited as well. So I think that's it.
It's always nice as a designer of learning to have a new landscape to do that within, and so it allows for joy and rejuvenation for our staff as well. So again, you'll see in your next board meeting an opportunity to vote on these offerings, and we'll take a question before we move on to math.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we pause and see if our board members have any questions before math? Ms. Sweems?
Yeah, I am super excited. This is the best part of my day. I'm going to be very honest with you. Traditionally, we've pushed information to students. We heard earlier today that the students have decided that we don't want to hear what your careers are. We want to hear what careers interest us, and I love that. And I appreciate that we're living in a different world, and youth are learning different, and we must keep them engaged. And what I'm really pleased about is that in the past couple of years, I've seen so many more instances of our office, central office, you guys, and within our school buildings, our teachers and staff, soliciting, opinions from our students and using it, not just, asking them questions and not acting on it. So I am thrilled with all of that. What I'm most interested about is, I'm glad we're innovating. I love all of the offerings. I love the feedback from the youth. Help me understand what we're required to go over from a standards perspective to make sure that students are learning what we think they need to be learning and will be assessing, appropriately. Help me understand how these course offerings will be inclusive of all of that learning that we want them to have. I'm sure that they will be. I just want to hear more about that.
Well, one of the benefits of having Christy Fifield, who is so knowledgeable of the standards and in the best practice in instructional design. So we will be teaming with the teachers who will be developing the curriculum and instructional frameworks for these courses. And one of the components of that is looking through the reading, writing, speaking, and listening standards, which actually repeat themselves from grade level to grade level. What happens grade level to grade level is you get deeper and you connect those to new literature text pieces. And so really what's changing is the text pieces and the themes in which we're doing the same reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So we already know what is expected of 11th and 12th grade, and those are generic strategy, skill, type standards that we can then contextualize in these. So we'll be monitoring to make sure that the courses have the Common Core standards that they are required to have to make sure our students are growing in that area, just in a different context of different text types. Anything you would like to add?
I have several more questions, but I want to give time to my other colleagues. Did you have something to offer as well?
I was just going to say that when you look at the ELA standards, they really are the skills to create literate people. And so those skills can be used in such a wide variety of contexts that's what's going to enable us to create these courses that address
some of the things that you have to offer.
Okay. Once it is approved, then we begin the design process of the courses. We'd be happy to include into some future updates some of the unit structures that staff develop as part of our curriculum development process.
Okay, thank you. That was all.
Ms. Weems?
So I did take a look at the descriptors, the summary of the courses, and I noticed that they were all half-year credits, which similar to how we used to do science there for a minute, where you did Unit 1 and Unit 2. Not that this board would be involved in this level of detail, but I am a little intrigued by how that would work with scheduling. I can appreciate that it was a little difficult when we had the credit courses before, that became a little bit of a challenge, and just wanted to make sure that was something that was being thought through as well. But I don't think you're going to have a problem with this. You're going to have a lot of interest in these areas.
So, Dr. Coffin is a huge support of our scheduling process with each of our high schools. We've included the high school administrators in this conversation, understanding that this would be a different type of schedule build than one full long class at the 11th and 12th grade year. It is not something unique to school systems to offer this type of partnering of different semester courses together. And yes, there's things that you have to problem solve and there's puzzle pieces, but it is something that a system would traditionally understand and know how to do. And with her leadership, with the training and expertise that our buildings have, it is something that we're willing to navigate to create flexibility for students.
I love that. And penultimate question. So I noticed that in some cases there are new course titles, which I'm assuming the board would have some input on. On I'm sorry, there were the titles. Oh, I lost my page.
The proposed new course titles.
Yeah, the proposed okay, so that's like curriculum. But then the titles, the new, can you go to one more. Yeah, the course titles to bring back. Are these courses or these book, what is that? So in addition to those previous ones, you're saying those previous ones were new, but these are ones that you are bringing back?
Yes, we just wanted you, so this is an awareness.
Gotcha.
You will only be voting on the new courses. The courses here, we just reshaped the titles to be more connected to today than they were 5-10 years ago.
Got it.
So they are already on our books. They are already board-approved courses.
Okay. And then the last question was around something I heard you say in response to the survey. The kids said, hey, can I test out? Actually, that piqued my interest. As a student, I always felt shackled to, coursework. And if a student is, and can, no different than college, where you can test out, if you're able to test out, why couldn't you, and free up your schedule to do some of the other things that you could learn to love or explore, right, from a career CTE perspective. I'm hoping that that's something that's being considered. Nothing for us to do today, but I'm not opposed to that at all.
Instructional Services does provide schedule opportunities for students to test out of courses as provided by the Michigan Merit Curriculum. That is part of what is in the state guidelines, and we support that. So we have students that will test out so that they have access to different courses. We also have students that don't want to test out. They still want to experience a course before they move on. And so we have a lot of that summer programming where students will take opportunities to accelerate and create space within their schedules to take different courses. And there are also different ways for students to be flexible where they can take a CTE course in place of a math course or have it count for both. Therefore, they create space. So there's a lot of ways that can happen, and there's even more flexibility that we have that I know the Board of Ed has talked about is how do we create as much flexibility as possible. But those opportunities already exist within our system.
Love this. Thank you.
Are there other questions from board members? I have questions. Okay. You said that you were phasing out English 9 and English 10, so...
English 11 and English 12, the full year
11 and 12,
course.
yeah.
Yep.
I knew that, and for some reason my brain
That's
didn't
okay.
coordinate.
That's why I said Hill today and not Hillside. That's okay.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, so English 11, so you're phasing it out. Does that mean in the first year you will offer English 11 and English 12 in addition to the electives?
So we're in conversations with the building administrators, with the departments to see how that will happen in terms of what versions of English 11 and 12 might continue to exist in the next year and the following year. So some of that we're logistically still working on. But yes, some element of what we already offer will probably move into next year as we navigate interesting courses, staff interest. We only can build so many new courses at a given time, so we have to think about our capacity. So right now we're bringing forward the courses to make sure we have those as something to work with, and then we'll work with the schedule, see what student choices are, and navigate from there how we keep and how long we maintain that.
Okay, all right, so that, and this junior forum and senior symposium, those really intrigue me, and they're listed as half semester, but will you have like junior forum fall and junior forum winter, or is it just a one semester and done?
They're one semester, so probably that language of half semester really meant half
Or half
a year.
credit was one, half
of
credit is one semester.
Yep.
But I just wondered if it had it in the fall and the winter so that they could just take, if it was a continuing course, but it's just a one and done, so they have to take the junior forum and another elective.
Correct.
Okay, all right, so that was a question. And then the other question, because our role as Board of Education now, when you have a whole bunch of new courses and then it requires new books and new resources, and so, how are we able to support that, or that is obviously part of the plan, and
So as we develop the courses, different texts, either full class text, book club text, or individual reading texts will be needed. And there are And so we will budget accordingly for those. And we already budget each year for new books that can be a full group book clubs or in individual libraries. So that's something we always kind of are funding constantly as we create a variety of text in our classes. So it's not something that would be unusual. We'd probably have a larger purchase this year, but we've been working with the business department to make sure that we have a funding source for new adoptions. You'll see some other new adoptions come up for different subjects this year and in the coming years as we kind of reset our instruction resource. So we're sure that we can move forward financially in order to support these courses.
Okay. Other questions from board members? Okay, thank you. And now we can move on to math. Yay.
So I think the Board of Education has asked us in the past about personal finance, if you recall. And we know that recently legislation put forward a new expectation for our current 8th grade students as they enter high school. They need a 0.5 credit in personal finance as part of their graduation requirement. We are trying to be flexible in how we offer that credit so it doesn't continue to restrict students' access to choosing different courses. That anytime the state adds a new graduation requirement, it can stifle what students are taking. And so what has been nice is districts do have some flexibility on how students earn that credit. So what you'll notice is that we're going to try to find more than one way within existing courses and a new course for a student to get that personal finance credit depending on their interest and their desire. So what we're bringing to the board today for a vote at the next meeting is to approve a high school personal finance math course. So we would like to offer a 0.5, which is a half-year credit course that can be taken at the 11th or 12th grade year. And what it does is it integrates the personal finance standards in with our math standards, but contextualize it in entrepreneurship, investment, credit, insurance, taxes, all these things that we know our students need for the future. And we're also looking to build partnership with local business and financial institutions to help contextualize that learning. So this particular personal finance course would be taught by a math certified teacher and could become a student's 4th credit in the senior year. Every student has to take a math course. Some students have already graduated out of the courses of interest and have limited access to different types in the 12th grade year. So this could count as part of a student's senior year, 12th grade year math credit. And we know that students have been looking for some other options for that. And so we're excited about this possibility of it also counting for that as well. And we would go through an intentional instructional design process to integrate the math and integrates the personal finance to build out that course. So that would be the course that you would be voting on at the next board meeting, is giving us the go-ahead to start designing that course. And we would design it so that it is ready for when our current 8th graders need that credit. And if it's ready earlier, it might be able to serve as a math credit for current students who aren't required to take that course.
Ms. Smith?
Thank you. Are we going to allow that to be over at Farmington Central as well?
That would be our intention. If you put it on, I will say there's already a personal finance course there. That's the CTE course. And so what you'll notice on the next slide is we're currently doing a standards audit of our CTE personal finance, which is a course we already offer that is included at Farmington Central and all the other 2 high schools. We also have a course that's economics that currently has some of this personal finance in it. And so we're going to take a look at that and see what we need to do there, if that can be an option for students to take that, which is a course they already take. And it would double count as that expectation as part of the graduation requirement for history, but also count for this personal finance credit. In addition to this personal finance math course, we wanted to have a few different options for students to get that credit.
Ms. Fox?
Yes, can the personal finance take the place of Algebra 2?
No.
No?
We're not allowed to do that. That's not a flexibility that we have.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Weems?
So these courses right now, well, there are two that are already offered, and then the new one would count as a math course. Does accounting count for math as well?
There are a number of our CTE classes that can get exchange credit with like science, with math, world language, or visual performing arts, so that wouldn't change. We already have a number of CTE, and the accounting would be one of those that counts for math credit. So some students use that CTE option as their 12th grade math credit, and they get the CTE experience as well as the math credit, as opposed to taking some of the other math department courses.
So this addition of the personal finance requirement, then it now moves from 18 required credits from the state to 18.5. So one of the things the state has asked us to look at is ways that students could take, let's say, an economics class, as well as earn the personal finance credit. So that might be a semester-long class where they'd earn a half credit for economics. They would also earn the half credit for personal finance. So they'd have a semester class where they earned a credit. So when we think about the new math course we're proposing, really our target audience are those, as Margaret mentioned, those students who in their final year are required to take a math course, but they may have went through their progression, and this is something of interest that they want to take, then that would be a half credit to meet the requirement and considered an elective.
So can you confirm the progression for me and tell me where you are required to move through? So you're required to take algebra, geometry, algebra 2, and you're not required to take pre-calculus or
And then just
calculus?
math in your final year.
Gotcha. So that's where, so some kids take algebra in the 8th grade, right? And so what you're saying is now that when you've gotten to the point where you're not required to take, because everybody doesn't need calculus.
Right.
You can choose now amongst these other offerings.
Yeah, we wanted to add an additional math offering so that students that you just explained who maybe go up to Algebra 2 and then want to look at another alternative for math outside of calculus. Yep, exactly.
Thank you.
Just to clarify your question, because at the MASB conference, Dr. Blau and I went to a presentation, someone from Michigan Department of Education, who is a very small department, but was explaining the standards. And she was saying, Algebra 2 is not a requirement, but all the standards are the requirement. But if you look at the standards, they're taught in Algebra 2. So she's saying, if you can get those topics or those standards in other courses, like CTE courses or other courses, then they don't have to take Algebra 2, but all of the standards have to be met. And so when school departments are putting together their courses and they can't cram all of the algebra standards into Algebra 1, it just doesn't fit. And so that's why the saying is Algebra 2 is required. So I like what you're doing as far as the credit. My question is, will this personal finance be limited to seniors and only their senior year, or can their students take it any time during their 4 years?
Our target is 11th and 12th
Okay.
grade, but it doesn't mean there's not opportunities where someone at a different place in their math sequence can't take it. But what's nice about it in the 12th grade is that it double dips your credits. So.
Yeah, I like that. And they pointed out in economics, it was like all but one standard is already completed in economics. And so you can get 2 credits for a 1 semester course.
Yeah.
And so I'm pleased to see that you'll be looking at economics just to revamp that. And so for creative ways to allow more flexibility for students to be prepared for the next level and meet the requirements and have more options for elective courses also. Other questions by the board members? All right, that was very informative, and so thank you. And so just to clarify, this is a discussion item, and so at the next board meeting, we're going to be asked to approve the English and the math new courses. Okay. Dr. Delgado?
I can just share a point. So the approval will be for these courses, as Ms. Hendrickson explain. But Mr. Smith is giving a presentation at the next board meeting on diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, and that includes the increase of culturally relevant materials and courses and the revitalization of some of the courses that were alluded to. So he'll give more information at that update as well. But I just want to thank all of our team for really committing to, as Ms. Weems said, not only our student voice, but our commitment to the equity audit, our commitment to our diversity strategic planning, and the work that we really are trying to bring to this district for engagement of our students and representative, culturally representative courses for our students. So we're really proud of the progress that we're making, and we know it takes all of you to make this happen. So thanks.
Thank you. And just one more comment on that track. I mean, we had all our new educators, but this takes a huge commitment from our teachers and our staff to develop these new courses and to prepare to teach all new courses that are really relevant. And so it just speaks highly of where we are as a district. So thank you very much for all of your work. Okay, well, I had my dress rehearsal for public comments, so let's try this again. Of course, I lost my notes now. Okay, so during the public comment portion of the board meeting, members of the community are welcome to address the board, and each community member will have up to 3 minutes to speak. A timer on the screen will display the 3-minute countdown for each speaker during public comment. Thank you in advance for honoring this guideline. We wish to remind our community that this is a meeting of the board held in public to provide transparency, but this is not a public meeting. As a result, we will respectfully listen to your comments, but we will not respond or engage in dialogue with you at this time. However, please be assured that we are listening closely to every comment and that a member of the Board of Education and/or our Superintendent, Dr. Delgado, would be happy to speak with you after the meeting to set up a time to engage in dialogue and further address your concerns. So there are public comment cards on the back table, and there is a ceramic dish on the front table. And if you have public comment, please fill out a card. Okay. What? Start here. Okay. All right. First, we have Dana B.
Good evening. My name is Dana Bruton. I'm a very proud parent. However, I'm a little disappointed. I understand how most districts' hierarchy works. The school board hires employers, and the employers are the go-between of the students, staff, and the Board of Education. And the ideal of the school board meeting is to hear from the community and to share with the community the plans of the district. And I just want to thank you all for listening as I advocate. My family, my husband and my sons, we made the family decision to move here 3 years ago solely for the this public district, Farmington Public School. We were very excited. We needed a better school district for our sons. However, the past year or so, we are disappointed. We have a child who has an IEP, is battling autism, who has challenges and delays. He is currently taking Algebra 1. He goes to North with multiple communications with his algebra teacher. There are a lot of late replies. However, when the replies came, the teacher, I voiced my concerns with my child is struggling with Algebra 1. It's a huge deal. Every day I ask my son, how's your day? Who's supporting you? What did you learn today? And he says, well, in this particular class, he has no support. I later found out through multiple emails through his Algebra 1 teacher that the co-teacher unfortunately resigned. So my child has been without support for 2 months. which is a little disturbing because he does have an IP. Every now and then, he will have a support person to assist him. Within that support, what's given to him is his work, and then there's, up under his work, there are answer keys. So he basically has to do his work, and he's copying his answer keys. That's not really helping him because he doesn't understand what to do because he has no support. He is failing in his Algebra 1 assignments and work. We are doing everything that we can to try to get him a tutor. So it was kind of a lack of communication that we didn't know that his the co-teacher resigned. My child cannot be successful if he doesn't understand the steps. With the email, the teacher did respond.
Thank you. I'm sorry, but your time is up.
Okay.
Next, we have Bill Lubaway.
Good evening. I have two topics to speak about tonight. One is I finally quickly got a response to a Freedom of Information request. It had to do with the Farmington proclamation from 2020. And the other one is a parent and school dialogue. And I'd like to cover I'm not going to get through the parent and school dialogue. On the proclamation, which says there is a long history of racism, discrimination, and segregation within our community. What I asked the Freedom of Information to find out was, what is the source? What's the authoritative source for that? And they responded, a search did not locate any responsive record. And it said, you may consider this email certification of the record's non-existence. That's a key element. That's the third paragraph of our proclamation, and it has no support. So I guess what I do is ask people involved in that, Terry Weems, Zach Rich, where did that come from? Is it true? Second topic. What we've got here is failure to communicate. And what I did was frame this as a discussion between the parent and the school, because previous discussions that we've had over the past year and a half or so, where we've talked about the failure of the district to achieve good measurable goals, and as a matter of fact, to rate D in the school grades report from 2 school years ago as at least they were equal to the average Oakland County school district in getting the D. And so my dialogue is framed as not the district, not as Bill or Eugene asking the questions, but as a parent asking this district or about a particular student. And the parent's question is, are our kids learning at an appropriate rate? And the kind of answer we get is, this year we've implemented a new phonics skills block for grades K to 2, and this program has been enthusiastically received by teachers. We plan to implement it for the 3rd grade in January. Some of the grade 4 to 5 teachers have improvised and are using the phonics skill block material to help kids who are reading below grade level to catch up. Parent, I won't do it. Don't have the time. You got my script? Those are my questions in a narrative form.
Thank you. Next, we have Henrietta Forshee.
Hello. My name is Henrietta Forshee. I'm from Farmington Hills, and I go to church, and I was asked to come here to advocate for persons who are too fearful of doing that, and they asked me to advocate on their behalf about, I didn't understand, I hadn't seen the reports myself, and then But when, just in Google, if you put pedophile coach at Farmington Hills School, this Free Press and Detroit Free Press and the Fox News and all these articles came up with about Jeremy Tompkins, 43, has been charged by the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office with second-degree criminal sexual and fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct. The charges were brought against him following allegations of sexual assault involving a 15-year-old Farmington Hills boy and a 16-year-old Oak Park boy. These incidents occurred while Tompkins was serving as a basketball coach at Farmington High School between August and October 2023. Tompkins has been ordered to refrain from contact with the two victims or any other minors. Detroit police arrested the former coach earlier this year after an investigation. The incidents came to light earlier this month when a student reported being assaulted during study parties that turned sexual. As a result, Tompkins was fired along with 3 other coaches who allegedly knew about the assaults. And it said, "The actions of this one individual do not define public schools," said schools official in a statement. "We continue to be proud of the positive interactions between dedicated staff members and students that happen on a daily basis." That's just shutting the door on all those that are in so much pain and confusion, and these people's lives have been changed forever. It's like a shooting, and not to respond to it in a connected way, I thought was odd. And then this Jessica Duplett of the Crime Public Safety Fox News said, "We had a lot of questions that we would have asked them if we had been granted an interview with anybody from the schools. We had asked twice and got denied twice, and actually referred us to a statement. So we went to the school board and talked to the president. She referred us to the superintendent. That was obviously a dead end. Amazing that no one will answer some of these tough questions. At a minimum, it seems like the school board should be held accountable to at least put out a letter to the family stating that no sanctioning of overnights with school faculty unless a formal event that will list the names of chaperones, and that any oversight of a FHS teacher is not honored. And that children should be told never to accept an invitation."
Your time is up. Thank you. Next, we have Mark Forshee.
I first came to this school board meeting in October of 2021, and I have never heard the board bring up serious issues and have serious discussions. It doesn't happen. It's a stream of superlatives, and they bring people up, and aren't we wonderful? Well, this issue that Henrietta brought up is serious, deadly serious, about this coach luring kids to his house, and then it turned ugly. And there's been no mention of this tonight. And there are people in this building who know there's also a knife incident. We would like to know the details of that. I heard a machete incident. That one might have been off property. There was a false alarm. I know someone who got that and he was scared to death. What's going on here? And this coach, and as I understand it, 2 or 3 other coaches got fired, not because they were involved, but because they didn't report. And why are you talking about this? This is what it's been 2 years or so that I've come here, and there are no serious discussions. Is this magically problem-free? And some people in Farmington and Farmington Hills believe it. I talked to a guy last year and said, I thought everything in the school district was fine. No, because it's an illusion that the school board meetings are happy. The Farmington Observer is gone. The Farmington Press is light. They don't delve into these things in any depth. And plus they get you folks advertised at the Farmington Press. They're not going to do anything to harm that. So we don't have news and people to come here to this board and talk in our little 3 minutes. So I'm talking to the parents out there. We have 4 or 5 people who come here. We're citizens. We pay taxes. And yet we don't have students in this school, but we care about what's going on. And we don't see any parents. There are a few thousand parents. in this district, and they aren't showing up here and speaking like we are now. We need parents. I'm pleading with you to come here, to dig into what's going on, and to stand up and speak out. It's so strange that no parents come on a regular basis. You can come once or twice. But if we have 10 of you speaking for 3 minutes, that's half an hour. And maybe all this other stuff that goes in the board could be limited. So I'm quite upset about this. Nothing like this serious matter that's gone, and there have been other things in the past. Discuss it. We're adults. We're not going to fall apart. We're not made of glass. Discuss these things, bring them out, and let the public know.
Thank you. Next, we have Chris Dianchi.
Good evening. Thank you. I would just like to echo some of the things Margaret said earlier and thank Katie, Nanette, and Chelsea who help run our new teacher induction program and do a fabulous job through their teacher leadership. I'd also like to acknowledge a few other folks that help with that. Jason Rosen and Amy Garbasek work with new teacher induction for our new special education teachers who are onboarded who have some very specific trainings that they need. And so they also help out with new teacher induction. I'd also like to acknowledge our FEA Vice President, Mamie Giller. Through her advocacy and grant writing, we're able to feed the teachers in August induction very nicely. It is usually that time of year where they have some of their last normal lunches as they go back to the speed eating of August. So it's nice for us to be able to provide for them. And it's also a great example of the FEA and the district collaborating and working to attract, retain, and keep the best teachers available. My opening remarks are very similar to something you said earlier, Ms. Heinrich, because I always talk about thank you for choosing Farmington, because we're in an area of an educator shortage, and there are still active postings throughout the state, throughout Oakland County, and I always begin the day by thanking them for choosing us and for hoping that it is their forever home. We are also at a time where our new hires are not always new teachers. We hired one veteran teacher who was blown away by the reception in August and all the thought that goes into making sure that they are prepared before they see students when they start, and I appreciate that. We've also worked to enhance our mentoring and our onboarding of those teachers who were hired post-August, because over the last few years we've also had the unfortunate situation where we might have to hire someone during the year or hire someone mid-year during a retirement, and we're working very hard to make sure that those teachers are ready for the first day that they receive students. I also wanted to mention that this coming to a school board meeting has been something that the new teacher induction program has done for a few years now. I was mentioning tonight at dinner with our teachers that I'm looking forward to them seeing this because there are a lot of surrounding districts that have turmoil and dysfunction on their boards. There are some districts that have board members that I wonder if they even support public education when I watch them speak and I read about them in the news and I see some of the things that happen. I am very happy to see that in Farmington over the last few years, our board has gelled and worked with our superintendent, and I am proud of the work that I see. I have not always felt that way in my career as both a teacher and a parent in the district, but we have seen real movement in the last few years while we've seen chaos in some other districts. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm glad that our new teachers who are watching tonight are able to see a high-functioning board, be able to discuss issues, and handle their business in the appropriate manner.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Mr. Thomas Hull.
Good evening, Board. My name is Thomas Hull, and I'm a representative of Farmington African American Parent Network. And with the Farmington African American Parent Network, that we're doing tutoring this week at our location is going to be here at the Maxfield Education Center, just to let everybody know, because at Farmington High, there's a big event that's happening. So bring your child down, and we can hopefully we can assist them, any kind of child to help out with English, algebra, and all these other things. We've been around since 2009, really. So so we are a great resource. So that's a good part. I want to go ahead and address the elephant that's been in our district for this semester. I'm getting too many phone calls. It's not enough information that's being disseminated out in the public. We've been touched on it with other comments indicating that our basketball coaches at Farmington were doing some horrific things to our children. It was lack of supervision. It was a lack of warning. Well, it was warning, but not heated warning and direct information to help with these kids that you can. It was just everything that could be wrong happened. Okay, and I feel very emotional about this because it was too close to home. I mean, it could have been my home that could have been affected. Actually, it has been affected because of just our familiarity of everybody that's on that team. We didn't need to know some kind of narration, something, what we're going to do in the future, what we're going to do to protect our kids. Now, we know that the coach who did that information is not allowed to in any of the to school things. However, the coaching staff that was part of that was seen at a recent basketball game talking to kids and parents. I don't know what to say. I mean, only thing I can do, I'm a parent, I can raise hell, I can do a whole bunch of other things, but this gotta stop. We need to get ahead of this narration that the media and everybody else is telling us what we're doing. When we speak about these items, we get kind of like shut down or dismissed. Had another parent that I talked with that told me an incident with some assault that happened, at the school. Again, lack of leadership, lack of supervision. We need to stop. Thank you.
Kelly Goldberg.
Good evening. I did not come forward initially, which I now regret, because I'm no longer a parent in this district. But I cannot stand silently while parents like Mr. Hull and other parents in the district have no protection for their children. I have been asking over the years that I've been a parent for you to initiate something along the lines of safeministry.com training for all of your staff, for all of your volunteers, for all of the coaches. What happened to these students is classic grooming of the gatekeepers. People who are predators get friendly with parents, they prey, as happened in the Clarenceville case with Jason DeBant, they prey on vulnerable families, they pose as mentors. They are personable, they are not creepy, they are often idols in their community. And yet, the contrast between what happened with these basketball students compared to what happened with the victims of the hockey doctor, for the hockey doctor, you see the 248-871-2610 tip line for Farmington for the Farmington Hills Police. A tip line was set up. The chief made a statement. I have to think there's been a process of quelling and discouraging students from coming forward in this situation with the basketball coaches. There were misleading statements made to the press. They were fired. They're not your employees. They were hired through a third party, and it's disingenuous and unethical of you to suggest that they were actual employees and that they were sort of escorted off the premises. And I am appalled that after a month, that there has not been a substantial, transparent effort to offer resources for students. If families don't want to come forward, they should be given the numbers, for Haven, for Common Ground. There are resources they don't necessarily need to prosecute, but they should be reached out to, and you should be doing everything you can, because I believe the next people you are going to be hearing from, as happened in Clarenceville, will be from these young men's families. And if you think by cowering, I hope it's not your attorneys telling you that this is a good stance, because as happened in Clarenceville, some of those criminal charges against Jason DeBant were prosecuted based on material that came out in the civil lawsuits. I hope that you will pull away from whatever misguided people are telling you to stay silent on this.
Thank you for your comments. Is there any other public comment? Is there any other public comment? All right. Hearing no more public comment, we will move on to action items. First is the approval of the Lanigan Elementary Food Service Equipment Recommendation. Ms. Weems?
This item was presented in detail at the November 21st Board of Education meeting. I therefore move that the Board of Education approve the purchase of new kitchen equipment for Lanigan Elementary School, hot and cold serving stations, a warming cart, a milk cooler, a prep table, and cashier and condiment stations from Stafford Smith in the amount of $81,657 with funds to come from the Nutrition Services Funds as presented.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Weems, supported by Mr. Rich, for the approval of the purchase of new kitchen equipment for Lanigan Elementary School with funds from the Nutrition Services Fund. Is there discussion?
The Board of Education approved the purchase of new kitchen equipment for East Middle School, 3 new hot serving stations, a cold serving station, 2 air screen coolers, 2 cashier stations, and 2 milk coolers from Stafford Smith in the amount of $168,628 with funds to come from the Nutrition Services Fund as presented.
Support.
All right, a motion by Mrs. Weems, supported by Ms. Smith, for approval of the purchase of new kitchen equipment for East Middle School with funds from the Nutrition Services Fund. Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Rich, a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Weems?
Yes.
I myself am a yes. Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, next item is the approval of the refrigerated food service delivery trucks recommendation. Ms. Weems?
This item was also presented at the November 21st Board of Education meeting. I move that the Board of Education approve the purchase of 2 new refrigerated trucks from Phil Long Dealership in the amount of $87,060 with funds from the Nutrition Services Fund as presented.
Support.
All right, a motion by Mrs. Weems, supported by Ms. Fox, for the approval of the purchase of 2 new refrigerated trucks with funds from the Nutrition Services Fund. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Rich?
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Weems?
Yes.
I myself am a yes. Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is reports from board representatives. Are there any reports from board representatives? Hearing no reports from board representatives, it looks like this meeting is adjourned.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Point of information, if it's okay. I am very disturbed. I've heard from our public about the issue regarding the basketball coaches. as a member of this board, we do need to be transparent. I have been able to hear from people in the community. You can't go anywhere without hearing about this. And we do need to address this and address it soon. I do believe that there are issues that we do need to look into.
Point of order. Ms. Smith, that's not an agenda item.
Okay, I just want to be on record to know that I am in agreement with the community that we do need to do something. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, with that, we'll call this meeting adjourned.